road to a milli, we back again, 75 weeks in a row. This is the real 75 hard. Try showing up to a free Zoom call 75 weeks in a row, not getting paid for it, just sharing all your numbers, getting financially naked every single week for 75 weeks. That's the real 75 hard. We just did it, Katie. We just completed our first round of 75 hard.
I think I'd rather the 75 hard than 2 workouts a day.
Yeah.
75 hard is hard.
I've never even done it. I've honestly never even looked into it. I just hear what people talk about it. And the little bit I get from what people talk about it, I'm like, seems hard. Seems hard. I would rather not do that. Rather not do that. I think it's the battle between intensity and consistency. And the reason why people talk about 75 hard is because it's intense. And 75 being the amount of days that you do it for is something that people can wrap their brains around. As consistency, how about we just get better every single day for 20 years? That scares people.
20 years? That's a huge commitment.
Yeah. So out of all the people who walk up to me in the gym, it's always what I tell them too. I'm like, dude, what do you do? I'm like, 20 years. I've been doing this for 21 years. Like every day. Like I've been consistent for 20 something years. If you knew what it took to actually get to where I got to, you would not be impressed. I promise you. You would, if you understood the amount of work it took, the amount of sacrifice that I made, and for me to only to look like this, you would not make that trade. It's not worth it. And so the reason why I do it is not because of the reason that you see. And that's the difference, is like, the reason I continue to do it has less to do with why it started. I started it just like anybody else starts it, is for the physical appearance, because we have the idea that the better we look, then it'll give us confidence, it'll change the status, like our lives will be better. However, in order for you to continue to do something for 20 years, your motivations, your desires change. And it has almost little to do with all the physical stuff. And I was just telling Kate this on our call right before this. Kate and I, we do a marriage meeting every single week. We've been doing it since 2018. Again, back to this consistency thing. Sorry, like everything that is good in life comes from consistency. And so we've had a marriage meeting every single week since 2018. Katie, how many have we missed?
None.
Absolutely zero. We've had to reschedule some. We've had to postpone them to arrange them on certain days, but we have literally, I shouldn't say that, Katie, we actually have missed. I think we missed 1 or 2 because when you go on your trip to.
No, we usually do it anyways. We don't have a lot to talk about, which is nice because I'm gone. It takes about 5 minutes, but we've consistently done them.
Oh, yeah. Either way, we've been doing it for a while. And one of the things that we talked about on that poll was the idea of like the intensity versus the consistency of doing anything in life. And Alex, that's what it was. So, oh man, where's I going with that, Katie? I lost the frame on it.
I don't know.
Either way. And so when it comes to growing your business, like doing something for 75 weeks, while it seems like a monumental effort, just like doing something in fitness for 75 days is a monumental effort, it's just a small timeline on the grand scheme of an infinite game. Because fitness, just like business, is not a finite game. There is no finish line. There is no after 75 days it is over with, right? And so that is really the only issue with having ideas like doing something for 75 days in a row is like, what are you going to do for the remaining 3,000 days of your life after the 75? And most people just don't have a plan for it. It comes back to just no planning, no preparation. And so what do people end up doing after 75 days?
Quit.
Well, what they were doing before the first 75 days, which were the same habits that got them to what they looked like before that. And it's gradual. So it's not like they on day 76, they go right back to what they're doing, but they're just like, okay, well now I can include this food back in, or I don't have to do this piece of the 75 hard anymore, or I don't have to do this piece of the workout. And it's just 1 degree. And then the second week from when they stop doing 75 hard, it's the 2nd degree. And then the 3rd week is the 3rd degree, and the 4th degree, and the 5th degree. And the next thing you know, it's 150 days later, they're right back to where they were. And they think that they're still doing the same thing that they got them to the result. And now they're confused. Now it's like, it must be my hormones. It must be my body. It must be my bone structure. It must be anything other than me because it can't be me. Could not be me. And so, yeah, today we're going to be talking about how do you do something consistently for a long period of time? And it goes back to the data. It goes back to understanding numbers and data. I think it's sexy, but most people don't think data is that sexy. Tracking your sales numbers, tracking your marketing numbers, tracking your fulfillment numbers.
I think the key to sustainability through consistency is also like understanding seasons. Like there is a season where we absolutely do sprint for the 75 hard,
Yeah.
but the purpose of sprinting for 75 hard is to actually create processes and systems that allow us to do 75 weeks rather than 75 days. So it's the process of improving all of the processes that you are implementing along the way. So you get out of the sprint season because there's absolutely still the 75 hard sprint season.
Yeah.
But there has to be a purpose behind that 75 hard sprint season.
Yeah. I think that's really good. Seasons. I think that's like a really good way to put it. Just understanding like what season you're in and understanding that there is a season after the 75 hard. I think maybe that's the best way that I can try to put it, is that there's different seasons to this, but to only focus on the sprint season, it will keep you from understanding that the most important season is like the maintenance season. It's the not 75 hard. It's like, how do I continue to do this when there is no more challenges, when there is no more like when the excitement wears off? And that's where we have discipline over motivation. It's just like we don't rely on motivation. We just go back to the discipline of like, this is what we need to do in order for us to get a specific outcome. Is we do certain behaviors. And in fitness, it's basically paying attention to what we eat, paying attention to how we move, and paying attention to our sleep. Like that's very much it. And in business, it comes down to making sure that we're continuing to market, making sure we continue to sell, make sure that we continue to fulfill. And then if you have graduated to the place in your business where you have office staff and you have people who are running a business, then it's like you showing up to coaching calls, and ensure that you're continually getting better and you're continually leveling up yourself as a human. So then you can transfer those skills onto your office people, because your team is only going to be, your team's standard is only going to be as high as yours is at best. Usually it's going to be less than yours. There's very few people who on your team have a higher standard than you, because if they did, they probably would have their own business. Why would somebody who's better than you work for you? Like to give you like a drastic example, like if any of you guys try to hire me or Katie, like would we work for one of you guys? Like ask yourself that question. Like, would Katie and I work for you? And then the answer to that question is like, well, why? Now on the flip flop, like, would you work for us? And then just answer that question. Well, why? And so just understanding that it always comes back to standards. And the person with the highest standards is the one who basically people will work for. And working for just doesn't always mean like actually an employee. Like coaching is a form of working for somebody, right? And so just understanding that like how you continue to like put yourself on the top end where people are working for you is that you need to continue to grow your standards. You need to, like, the person who sacrifices the most is the one who gets the most respect. So a lot of this comes down to respect. And so the things that you don't want to do are the same things that your employees don't want to do or the other people in your life don't want to do. But you don't get respect from not doing those things. You don't get respect from going out and on the spending spree and going on trips and vacation and buying Louis Vuitton purses. Like, you don't get respect from that. You respect by instead of doing those things, sacrificing your weekends to make your business better, doing work that nobody sees, and making the business better. Right? That's where you get respect from. You respect by taking the arrows for other people so they don't have to take them. And so if you want to raise your standards,
you have to go first.
You have to go first. Right? It's both the easiest and the hardest thing to do. Week 75, Mesa 5-star claim. Yeah, one of the things that we're going to showcase inside this week is our cleaners and the increased in efficiency in cleaners. And so let me just share with you guys like how this all came to be. So in our Montana location, we are generally cleaner constrained. And so Katie, what does it mean to be cleaner constrained?
It means we have to say no when a client calls and says, can I get a clean? because we don't have room.
Another way it can look like is that we just have our marketing like turned way down because there's no point in spending more money for leads that we don't need schedules full. So there's different degrees of being cleaner constrained. And so one way is like the extreme example is like, I can't put anybody on my schedule. I got to say no. Another example is just like, we have a marketing system that every single dollar that we put into, we're able to get $10 out, $15 out. Like last week in Bozeman, we got $20 back out of it. And so somebody who knew nothing about the cleaning business would say, well, bro, spend more money on marketing. And I'd be like, bro, yeah, I need more cleaners. And so therein lies the difference in our first location is that we're not able to keep up with the amount of cleaners in order for us to actually crank our ad spend up. So we can actually, instead of getting 20 to 1, spending $1,000 and making $20,000, I'd rather spend $2,000 and make $40,000. But I can't spend more money because I would just spend more money. We wouldn't be able to fill any more cleans. And so if you guys were able to get on last week's Road to 300K call, I walked you through the process of like last week, I think we spent, $1,200 and we made 20 grand in 1 week on marketing. And then being able to convert those marketing dollars into $20,000 of booked sales that week. And so that's another degree of being cleaner constrained. And so that location it's a typical problem for it to be cleaner constrained. So then the money that we spend doesn't go into marketing. It doesn't go into marketing for clients, it goes into marketing for cleaners. And so we actually, at this very moment, we actually match what we spend on cleaners with clients, which is not normal for any businesses. Like to spend as much money in clients as you do for cleaners it's not normal. But we spend $500 or $600 a week for cleaners to try to make up for that deficit. But by doing so, we don't want to say no to cleans. So we've gotten really good at figuring out how to make our current cleaners more efficient, how to actually maximize the schedule. And so we actually learned this from Alaya, who's our GM in Bozeman. She's been forced to learn how to do this because these are the cards that she's dealt. Bozeman, on average, the cleaners work well over 30 hours a week. I think last week was 31, but it's very common for us to have cleaners who work 40 hours a week. A lot of cleaners who work 35, 36, 38 hours. I think last week we had 13 cleaners all over 30 hours. So it wasn't just the fact that we averaged 30 hours, but like we had 13 cleaners who worked over 30 hours. And on the contrary, our Arizona location, it had been averaging probably like 23, 24 hours on average. And it was fine. It was doing okay. Like for most people, like 23, 24 hours, like that's good. It's good. We just realized that the cleaners made a lot more money when they worked more hours. And so, Katie, is it easier to keep cleaners when they make more money or less money?
More money.
Why?
They need money to survive. They need money to live. So if we are unable to pay them and somebody else can offer them full-time hours, we expect them to be available full-time. We need to pay them well.
And so that's kind of the problem that we ran into is that our cleaners in Mesa, we weren't able to pay them more, so they were looking for other opportunities to make more money. It wasn't that they didn't like the job or they didn't like their cleaning, they just didn't get enough hours. And so we're like, how do we do this? How do we get them more hours? So we're like, okay, let's make the schedule so it's 2 cleans a day. Every cleaner's got 2 cleans a day. Did that solve the problem, Katie? Yeah, so this is interesting. Why? Why didn't cleaners who had 10 cleans a week, why were they still getting small paychecks?
Because those cleans were not optimized individually. They were, yes, each cleaner was having 2 cleans a day, but those 2 cleans equated to about 4 hours of working hours a day.
All right, so this is going to be for people who are inside the coaching program. Like this is for you guys. Like, pay attention, okay? Because there's not a module on this. Future potentially, but not right now. So this is for you guys, okay? If you're not inside the coaching program right now, just bear with us, okay? This might be a little bit over your head, but having 2 cleans a day, having 10 cleans a week is not enough to actually get your cleaners over 30 hours. And so, Katie, give some like examples of where we had cleaners who were getting 10 cleans a week, but still weren't having full schedules. And you talked a little bit about it.
Yeah. So if we had a 4-hour job, in order to fill schedules, we would cut that 4-hour job in half and make it a 2-hour job with 2 cleaners. And that those cleaners would have one job on their schedule for the day. And then we'd have another 4-hour job in the afternoon. And again, we noticed that a cleaner didn't have a job on their schedule. So we would cut that 4-hour job in half and put it on 2 cleaner schedules. So rather than one cleaner getting 8 hours for one working day, we would give 2 cleaners 4 hours for one working day.
Yeah. And that was the problem. That was one of the problems that we ran into. And so by simply eliminating that group clean and turning it into a solo clean, now we had one cleaner working 4 hours. We had one cleaner who had no cleans on the schedule, which meant what, Katie?
They left.
Or what else would it mean? If we actually were proactive about it and we saw it ahead of time, what could we actually do then?
Internal market, fill the schedule.
Yeah.
Serve somebody else.
We could actually make more money because we could actually serve another client. And this is where a lot of times what I see is that as cleaning business owners, like you think your schedule is full. And that's because you have it inefficiently set up where you have 2 cleans a day and you have 4-hour cleans with 2 people on it. When if you actually cut it to a 1 hour or one person working 4 hours, now you have a cleaner who's got no jobs in the morning. But why won't you do it? Why don't most people do it, Katie?
Because I can't fill the schedule.
Because then they got to fill the schedule, and that's scary, right? But if you have a marketing and sales system that you can predictably put cleans on the schedule, it becomes less scary. And again, that's why this whole business, it's like this, it's almost like a hamster wheel of like you have this problem, but then the reason why you don't do it is because, well, I'm scared, because you don't necessarily have a marketing and sales system, which again, if you're inside the coaching program, you guys do have a marketing and sales system. So like, good for you. If you don't have a marketing and sales system, well then yes, that's why you're afraid to actually maximize your current cleaner schedules, is because you don't have a way to predictably be able to fill the schedule if you do maximize one cleaner schedule. So that's one big thing that we did. Okay, to give everybody another strategy that we use to help optimize cleaner schedules.
I mean, filling cleaner schedules from the top down. So we truly have a hierarchy of cleaners, and our top cleaners we ensure have a full schedule. So by definition, that means 7 assigned cleaning hours every single day. So 7 times 5 is 35 hours.
Yeah, so if you guys think about inside the coaching program, we talk a lot about 2 cleans a day. That's what we have on the vision sheet, which you guys will see. But if you actually go to the next level of that, understand that you're looking for 7 hours a day. Like that's what you're looking for. That's a cleaner schedule. So if you do have a cleaner who has a 2-hour job in the morning and a 2-hour job scheduled for the afternoon, like that is not full. So you could actually have 3 more hours. So then you can actually fit another 3-hour clean on their day, right? And so keep going on the top down model, okay?
Yeah.
Because this is also important here.
So if we have, let's just say as an example, we have 3 cleaners, and we have one cleaner who has a very full schedule in the morning, 4 hours, and a very full schedule in the afternoon, 3 hours. Your next cleaner has a 4-hour clean in the morning and nothing in the afternoon. And the bottom cleaner has nothing. That is an ideal scenario. Now, a lot of times what happens is this bottom cleaner, who's on the bottom of your hierarchy, has a client that they are the recurring cleaner for. So it has to stay assigned here. We do not do that. We actually bump it to the top cleaner if the top cleaner has an opening. So we prioritize our cleaners' hours from the top down.
And so you basically have a priority chart of like the top cleaners always have full schedules, and then the bottom cleaners, like they might have schedules that are open until last minute, because we're always trying to fill till last minute, but we want to make sure that our top cleaners, they have more consistency and predictability to their schedule. So the ideal is always to fill all the cleaner schedules. However, if cleaner schedules don't get full, it goes from the top gets filled first all the way down to the bottom. And so again, it still is very dependent on you having a marketing and sales system that can fill the bottom half of the schedule with new cleans, and giving your new cleaners the opportunity to get reoccurring clients. And so the speed at which you can get new clients, most of you guys don't realize how fast you can do it, because you never put yourself in a situation where you have to fill schedules today or tomorrow. And that comes back to courage. And so Katie, this has now happened twice, but last week, you were telling me the story of Keziah. She got a call. We had a Yeah. You tell the situation that happened last week.
So we had a lockout happen Monday morning. Cleaner shows up to a house, and really interesting scenario. Husband and wife have separate houses, separate sides of town. But the wife is at the husband's house, and we're supposed to be cleaning the husband's house. And the wife answers the door and says, "My husband's sick today. I can't let you in. We're not cleaning this house." And the cleaner is amazing. She's like, "Okay, totally understand that. Why don't I just clean the rest of the house and I'll leave your husband's room alone?" She said, "No, no, no, no. My husband he's all over the house. Like, we just can't have you clean this house." And the cleaner was like, "Okay," read the notes before she went in, and she knew that the wife had a different house. So she asked the wife, like, "I see that you also have a house that needs to be cleaned and is on our schedule. Would we be able to flip-flop the houses?" The wife was like, "Maybe." So the cleaner ends up coming back to the office, telling us this story, and the phone rings, and Keziah answers it, and somebody is in dire need of a clean yesterday. And Keziah closes it, books it, sends the cleaner out, and we were able to solve not only a lockout problem, but also fill the cleaner's schedule same day.
So this is now the second time this has happened where we booked like a same, I would say not same day, because it's like the
Same moment.
same moment clean. And you're only able to do that if you actually have availability on the schedule.
Had we had this lockout not happen, we wouldn't have had that opportunity. So our schedule actually was full, which was cool.
So it's having the courage to put yourself in a situation to be able to do the inputs required in order for you to fill schedules fast, right? And in this business, you can fill, like, you can get on a phone call and and someone can agree to a clean. You can be there in the next 30 minutes if you have the availability. Talk about the minimum number of cleans. So first off, guys, if you guys are just showing up, you guys are late, you guys are snoozing. We're talking about how to maximize our cleaner schedules. We're talking about how to make our current cleaners more efficient, so that way we can get more from less, right? And so the first thing we talked about, what was the first thing we talked about?
Not like efficiency in each individual clean. So
yeah,
we don't break cleans into 2 cleaners unless it's 6 hours. At 6 hours, we will break into 2 cleans.
Yeah. And the second thing we talked about was just prioritizing from your top cleaners down. This is not a fairness contest. It's like, if you have your best players on your team, like, give them the reps, give them the playing time. Like, they've earned it. Like, you will lose your top cleaners if you constantly give playing time to bottom cleaners ahead of them. Right? So fill from the top down. Talk a little bit about minimum cleans. I think this is also important, like, because of the time frame. If we notate that 2 cleans a day as an example, if we use that as at least like a base level, and we have a clean in the morning, clean in the afternoon, visible 2 hours, then what do we do? How do we make 7 hours work? How do we get to 7 hours a day?
Yeah, we ran into this problem very, very quickly in Mesa. We used to have a $120 minimum and a 2-hour clean. That was the minimum that we would send a cleaner out for. And as we were diving into the schedule, and Alaya coming into to Mesa from Bozeman, she quickly realized that was us hamstringing ourselves, because if you had a 2-hour clean in the morning and a 2-hour clean in the afternoon, that was only giving a cleaner an opportunity for 4 hours a day. So she's like, "You guys need to increase your minimum cleaning." So the minimum cleaning is now a 3-hour minimum. Now, is it a hard, set, fast rule that we will absolutely not serve anybody under 3 hours? No. If the schedule can accommodate a quick last-minute 2-hour clean at the very end of the day, we're going to put it on there. But as a baseline foundation rule, we only allow 3+ hour cleans to be put on the schedule. It makes it worth it for our cleaners to actually show up, do a good job, get paid well, pack up, and head to the next clean. So it gives us an opportunity to actually put 7 hours on a cleaner schedule a lot more efficiently than 2-hour cleans.
Cool. And then let's give one more before we dive in here today. And then the last one I want to talk about is, so if we have the first one being that we're not going to split cleans. So if we have a 4-hour clean, we're going to give that to one person rather than split it into 2 different cleaners. And then the second one being, we're going to fill from the top down. And the third tip that we're going to talk about, or the third tip that we shared, was a minimum hour clean. Then the fourth one, Katie, why don't you share with like the actual time block? So I thought the time block one was actually pretty interesting. From the morning time block, I think everyone understands. Everyone has a morning time block, right? Everyone here starts at a specific time. Everyone has your first clean at 8 o'clock or 8:30 or 9 o'clock, probably somewhere in between those three spots. Those are the most common ones that I see in this industry. Okay. And then what about the afternoon block, Katie? Because I think this is where I got a big epiphany on when I started to see how Ally was able to maximize a schedule with 25 cleaners that were working 31 hours a week. Like, you only do that if you're efficient and you are proactive and you actually have a plan. It doesn't happen on accident.
Yep. Great point. So depending upon what your working hours are, I'll give 2 examples. So if your ideal scenario is to be able to get a cleaner 7 working hours, 9 to 6 is our Mesa time that we work. So morning clean always starts at 9. Client calls and says, I want a morning clean mid-morning. Can you do 11 a.m. arrival? Historically, we would have been like, yeah, we can do that. But it hijacks the rest of the day because now we can't actually have a morning and an afternoon clean. We have a middle of the day clean. So this is also why we eliminated Airbnbs, because Airbnbs have to be done in the middle of the day and they take up the time, they overlap the time of 2 different cleans. So the cleaner can actually only have 1 clean and it's an Airbnb. Boo, Airbnbs. So the morning time slot is 9 a.m. And if we split cleans at the 6-hour mark, the afternoon clean starts at 2. This allows up to 5 hours of cleaning time for the morning clean. Now, ideally, we have a 3 or 4 hour clean. They spend 3 or 4 hours and they have an hour lunch break to get to their 2 p.m. clean. In the afternoon, that also allows a 4-hour cleaning to be able to get done prior to heading home for the day. So we have 2 time slots that we tell clients. In our afternoon, we do put in a window because if the clean gets done early in the morning, or if they get done early in the morning, we allow the cleaner to call the client to ask if they can come early. Simultaneously, sometimes that morning clean might run late. So we have the cleaner call the client and let them know their ETA for their arrival after their morning clean. So we do have a window to arrival time between 1 and 3, but when we put it on the schedule, it is scheduled at 2 p.m.
So that part's important. It's important because you actually differentiate that we have an internal dialogue that it's on the calendar at 2 o'clock, but to the client, it's always a window. That way we can make sure we meet expectations. Because the biggest thing in this game, guys, is meeting clients' expectations. So while we don't have 100% control over the afternoon time slot, if we give a window, we can usually stick within the window. We can make the 1 to 3 window to the client so they are expecting us during that time frame. However, for the cleaner on their schedule, it just shows from 9 is their first clean and then 2 o'clock is their second clean. So for the cleaner, they have a consistent schedule. And then if they do get done early, they can take their lunch, or they can wait until the clean starts at 2 o'clock. Or if they really want to go early, they can call the client and say, hey, I just got off my morning clean early. Are you okay if I come early? So it gives them some flexibility and we can reset an expectation if need be. Okay. And that was the big thing for like the schedule management. Again, if you're going to do this at scale, guys, and you want to eventually get to $1 million business, and then you want to get to a $2 million business, it comes to being proactive with the schedule and understanding your time slots. And when it comes to like your standards of like allowing 2-hour cleans or 2.5-hour cleans, like 3-hour cleans is the minimum. And then your goal is to get each cleaner a 3 or 4-hour clean every single day, or 3 and a 4-hour clean every single day. And that's how you get to 7 hours. Right. And if you just make it so those are your standards and that's what you tell people, then you don't even give 2.5-hour cleans or 2-hour cleans. Like, it just doesn't become an option. Right.
And oh shoot, it's only a 3-hour in the morning and a 3-hour in the afternoon all week. Yeah. 6 times 5 is still 30 hours.
Exactly. That's why the standard is so important, is you shoot for 7 hours. And even if you fall short at 6 hours, you're still getting 30 hours. And this is how we're able to consistently have cleaners who work on average 30 hours a week. And guess what? Sometimes they work 8 hours a day. And that's how we have cleaners. Like you guys will see here, once we dive into the data, we had a cleaner work 44 hours in Mesa last week. The most we've ever had. And we had 5 other people over 30 hours. Right? Yeah. So.
And this all came from us processing payroll in both locations. We charge the exact same hourly rate in Bozeman as we do in Mesa. And for some reason, Bozeman they would have 10 cleaners minimum having $1,000 paychecks. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, the highest paycheck in Mesa for a very long time was like $700-800. And I'm like, there's got to be something more to this. So we got curious and we started asking questions. We started deep diving into hours worked, schedule management. And a lot of this doesn't happen on the fly, you guys. This is being proactive about handling the schedule. There was a post in our community that was like, reactive schedule management as we're growing is becoming a full-time job. Like, how the hell do you guys manage this? And the secret is being proactive about it. So turn all of that energy from reacting into proacting and understanding that you want your cleaners and clients to be set up for success. So do what is required to set them up for success on the front end, and the reactivity will like drastically diminish.
So good. So good. So good. Cool. All right, guys. So let's actually show you guys some numbers. Let's show you guys how we did it. Let's show you guys how to actually maximize your cleaner schedules. And the reason why you want to maximize cleaner schedules is because you actually can grow your businesses without having to add additional cleaners. So basically, you can just take your current team, make them more efficient, and you can make more dollars. Your cleaners will get paid more, which increases the probability they'll stick around longer, which means instead of paying Indeed or paying trainers or paying trainees hours that do not count towards your billable revenue, you could just pay your current cleaners more money. Anyone down with that? Anyone just paying your current cleaners more money? Anyone like that? Instead of having to always go get new people who don't work out?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. So if you guys are brand spanking new here, welcome to the Road to a Million call. We've been doing this for 75 weeks. If you guys missed my monologue earlier, is that what you call it?
Intro.
Intralog. If you guys missed my intralog earlier, this is week number 75. 75 hard weeks of doing this call. And if you guys want to go back and watch week 1, it's actually, everyone in here has access to it. It's in the Road to a Million replays. If you guys are in the free school group, you guys can go to the classroom and you guys scroll to the bottom, you'll see Road to a Million replays. You guys can go literally watch episode 1. We started with $0, zero reputation in a market that we were brand new to. Brand new here. Katie started out cleaning. I started out doing sales and hiring. You guys can literally go watch those calls. And for 75 weeks, we've been documenting this journey. It was just me in the office for the first like 10 or 11 weeks. And then Katie eventually joined me after 12 weeks, after we hired, I think, 5 cleaners. And then Katie and I were in the office for the next 12 weeks. And then at week number 24, we hired our 2 office staff. One of them's still with us. One of them's no longer with us. And they've been running and she's been running the business along with the rest of our office staff since week 24 of this business. And last month it did 70,000. And you guys will see here that this month we're projected to already projected at 65 or 66,000, which means that we could potentially, what does potentially mean?
There's an opportunity for it, but not a guarantee.
For us to get a PR this month. We'll see. Even in Arizona, even in the worst time of year to be in Arizona. Anybody want to come to Arizona in the middle of August?
It's only 120. Come on.
Yeah. Yes, it is the time that nobody wants to come here. And so with a market headwind, we're continuing to grow because what I've discovered, it took me 10 years to understand this, is that it's not the market that depends on whether the business grows or not. It's the entrepreneur, it's the business owner, and it's their inputs and what they do is what's going to dictate whether the business grows or not, despite the season. Now, someone tried to argue with me this other day, and I want to be really clear. There is headwinds and there is tailwinds. So there's certain parts of the year where you have like a little tailwind behind you that makes things easier. Like it's the summer. Everybody wants to come to Montana as an example. Everybody wants to come into Canada. They want to come to these nice places where it's nice and warm. But they want to leave places like Arizona where there's 120 degrees. However, it flip-flops in the wintertime. Nobody wants to be in Montana in the wintertime. Everybody leaves. Everyone wants to come to Arizona. So then we have a tailwind in Arizona and a headwind in Montana as an example. But they're just that, they're just headwinds and tailwinds, which means that you can continue to push through or use the tailwind to grow. It just means that you have to put in more inputs when you have headwinds. It just requires more. It requires more money in marketing. It requires more phone calls. And so that's what we're going to share with you guys. What are the inputs required that when you do face a headwind, as an example, how can I continue to grow during a headwind? Because if you can grow during a headwind, that's where you start to feel confident. That's when you're like, that's when you feel convicted, is like when everybody else is like shrinking down and they're panicking, they're like, business can't grow right now. Nobody's got money. It's tax season. It's the holiday season. It's whatever bullshit season that it is this time of year. People make excuses on why they shouldn't do the freaking work. And I really believe that people avoid doing the work, not because they don't like work, because they just don't understand what the work is. And so it's the whole point of this call, is to show you guys what is the work is required in order for your business to predictably grow. Because you do not grow a business from $0 in a market you've never been in with zero reputation to $70,000 in a month on accident. It doesn't happen on accident. And so the more that you understand that this is a predictable process, then maybe if you're intelligent, you'll follow somebody who has now done it 2 times and also has helped other people do this multiple times. James, I'm so sorry. I forgot to share this. Will you go to the website and find the client wins? Because as much as this is fun about you guys watching us do this, it's more important and more valuable for you to see this other cleaning business owners who are just like you, who are no smarter than you, who are implementing this very same system, who are actually who are doing the thing sometimes even better than we're doing it. And so, James, go to the website, find the client win section, drop the link so you guys can see the Marie Jez. You guys can see the Jessica Lucases. You can see who else is on here right now. The Tyler Stowers. You can see the Kayla Irbies, right? You can see the other people inside the community, the Bobbies and Jackies, who are actually using the system. And by the way, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of names in there. More than I can even count. Because it's a system. But there's 2 pieces to the system, guys. There's the system, but you have the person operating the system. And that's the variable. And that's the variable that Katie and I actually coach. And we're very selective about who we bring in to the program, is because we understand that the system is only as good as the person operating the system. Thank you, James, for the client wins. If you guys haven't, go see that. Go check the client wins. If you guys are inside the coaching program, go watch it. Go look at it. Go see if you can find your name in there. Some of them are crazy. Some of them are crazy. Some are crazy. You guys are awesome. But there's 2 pieces. If it was just system, like Katie and I would be much, much richer than we are today. But it's not. It's combining system with people. And so our job is to find people. And that's, as we get better and better at finding people who can operate the system, we will become richer, much richer. And so that's what we're learning is system works. Now finding people who can use system. Right avatar with right tools equals amazing results. And so that's why we do these calls for free, is to share with you guys that for some of you guys who are not inside the system, who are not part of the program, like if you guys recognize the system works, cool. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm the type of person who can actually make this system work, that's who we want to help. That's who we want to communicate with. That's who we want to connect with. That's who we want to form a relationship with, is because like what you could do on your own is like, we could just help you do what you like. We could help you grow to where you want to grow very, very fast in a way that would allow you to get there with a higher probability than you could ever do on your own. The amount of effort and work and amount of things that it takes in order to actually make this thing happen, like you don't know because you don't know. Like this has been a decade it's taken us to get to this place, and you can basically you can shortcut a piece of the process. And let me help you understand this, because I think this is important. Is that you can shortcut the like knowing what to do, but you can't shortcut the actual doing of the do. You will never be able to skip that piece. I can just say these words, use this script, this works. It's your job to actually say the words, use a script, and then get told no, and be like, why didn't it work for me? It's like that. You can't skip that. There's always the rejection. There's always the failure that's going to happen. At least you know you're failing with something that works. And that's the part that's tricky, is that you can fail with something that doesn't work over and over again, or you can fail with something that does work. And that's where it's hard. And you know what's even funnier? Here's the hard part. You can be successful with something that's never going to work long-term. And that's the hard part, because most people are successful with systems and processes that will never work long-term. And that's where they get confused. And that's where they're like, I can't believe this worked when I got from 0 to 20,000. It's like, yeah, but that thing will not get you to 40,000. That systems, those processes is what will stop you, because ironically enough, what gets you from 0 to 20 is much of an animal that gets you from 20 to 40,000 a month. And what gets you from 40 to 60,000 is much different than what gets you from 60 to 80, right? And you just don't have the perspective. You don't understand how to do it because you haven't done it, not once. But the cool part is once you do it once, then you have the skill sets to do it again, right? So If you're not part of the coaching program and you're interested in applying for the coaching program, James will also drop that link, and you can hang out with the Maries and the Lucases and the Tylers and Bobby and Jackies, right? And again, like, we are pretty selective about who we let into the coaching program. That's all. That's all. Sorry, Katie. I made him say that. But if you are interested, you click that link and you can apply. Okay, so let's dive into the Mesa vision sheet. So this vision sheet is the data sheet that allows us to be able to predictably grow our business. Oops, it's not very big. Let's make it bigger so you guys can see it. Okay, here we go. Week number 75. See that? Week number 75, guys. Mesa 5-star cleaning. The vision sheet, our projected monthly revenue is 65,000. So you can see last week it was 62. Before that was 53,000. So we're definitely on the up and up, which is cool to see. Last 30 days revenue, Katie, 77,000. Ooh. Closing on that 83K mark. Yeah, super exciting. Look at this, next 30 days revenue. I've been highlighting this number a ton. I really believe that this is the leading indicator whether we actually can hit the 83K mark, is if we can get this number to 62,000. I think that gives us a realistic opportunity for us to actually turn this into $1 million business, right? So we need to add an additional $3,000 or $4,000 to the next 30 days revenue consistently in order for this thing to actually hit 83K. Okay. Trailing 12 months revenue, this business has done $740,000 in the last 12 months. The current monthly revenue is $37,000. Last week we did almost $16,000. The week before that we did almost $19,000. So back-to-back weeks of good weeks. Total recurring clients 173 is the highest number we've ever seen inside Mesa. 64 weekly cleans, 245 revenue per clean. This has been so vital to what Katie talked about earlier on how to fill cleaner schedules, is like our minimum number. Yeah, we're pretty consistent with having minimum number, but we're also just more consistent with just selling bigger cleans. Like, I continue to do call reviews. I continue to coach Keziah, our GM for our Mesa location, on like why it's important to sell more. It's more valuable to sell more. It really is. And so that's my job. My job as the coach to her is help her break her limiting beliefs around money. And you guys can see 245, 304, 236. Like, the higher we can get these numbers, these are all above our revenue per clean from this 228, this goal you guys can see here. This came from an average of our last quarter. So we're increasing it. Like, we're making progress. So important. Cleaners, we only had 10 cleaners last week. 10 cleaners, worked 30 hours. You see 30 hours, 29, 25, 31, 4 weeks ago, 34 hours. So like, just so you guys know, like, this is not just a one-time thing. Like, this is a system. This works. It works very, very well, right? 297 cleaning hours. Inside ZenMaid, we billed at 15,954. Initial clean revenue is 2831. Whoa, look at this repeat number, Katie. I haven't seen this number this high before.
Never. That's great. It's a goal.
13,000. Let's freaking go. Good job, guys. Yeah, this is super exciting. Cool guys here. The nice part of being in Arizona, just so you guys know, is that everybody has a pool in Arizona. Most people have pools in Arizona. Super nice. That part is nice. So at least it's 120 degrees, you can actually get in the pool. But that's not the only thing that's nice about being in Arizona in the summertime. Okay, outstanding invoices, $100 or $1,800 less than 7 days, and then $195 greater than 7 days. So this is the first time we've even had anything outstanding in the last 3 weeks. So as far as invoicing goes, if you guys were on the call last week, I casually yelled at Katie. She tried to blame somebody else for, we have this invoice process that has been updated, which is making our invoices go way down and making our cash collected go way up. But also the second piece of that is our cleaners are getting more tips. And so it's balancing this fine balance of we want to charge cards right away versus giving clients enough time to tip. And we've found the sweet spot. And again, it's actually started in our Montana location. And so it started with the owner of ZenMaid. So a lot of you guys use ZenMaid. And the owner's name is Amar. And Amar actually reached out to us. And he wanted us to be part of a beta test, because he's like, He's like, you guys are one of the 5 people who get tipped the most out of all the users inside ZenMaid, your Montana location. Like, you guys are the top 5. And so would you guys mind doing a beta test with us? Sure, right? And so we basically were able to take our tip process inside Bozeman and be able to apply that to our efficiency inside Mesa, like having no money collected all the time, be able to combine those two, which now where our cleaners are also making more money because they're working more hours. But like, these girls are getting some good tips. Like, I'm seeing a couple $100 tips from each of these cleaners every single week as well. And it's because we're giving the clients the opportunity to tip on the invoice, while at the same time, we're still collecting the money on the back end. It's juicy, friends, it's juicy. And so this will be updated inside the community soon. I've been giving this to a couple people just as a way to test it before I release it to everybody. It's juicy. It's working. It's working. So, but it's also because the system works, but it's just giving it to the right person who has the attention to actually follow through with it. So it's both a system thing and a person thing. Just so important to understand that it's never just a system thing. It's always a person. It's always a system plus a person. Like, you guys are always valuable. Your team is always valuable. It can never just be a system. It's got to be a system plus a person. That's the equation. That's the formula. Discounts. Yeah, just a couple discounts. Text messages. Internal marketing. We sent out some text messages. Looks like we sent out one every single day. Super exciting. If you don't know anything about internal marketing, you should know. Internal marketing is literally how you fill cleaner schedules fast, how you're able to put cleans on the schedule reliably, predictably, and how it costs you pennies on the dollar, because these are people who are already on your list. And the ironic part is the more that you message them, the more valuable the list becomes, not the opposite. Right? I'm bothering them. I'm tired of, I don't want to be the annoying person. It's like, you got to know what to say. So all these messages right here, they're inside the training. They're inside internal marketing, and they've just been updated. Ooh, they're so good. They're so good. Like, you can send these messages every single week. And yes, you get some people who will say, stop, go away. Of course. But far more people will be very receptive to it. And they'll say, I'm interested. I'm curious. Tell me what you got. And that's what you want. You just want someone to say, tell me more. Tell me just a little bit more, right? So how do you get people to send messages to? Yes, Kristen, they're working so much better before. Exactly, because you know what? We did it, we got feedback, we just made it better. And that's what business is. And honestly, Kristen, you helped make the system better because you were part of this, because there's 106 people that are inside the community. And so, like, I learned from you guys. Like, that's the reason why the system gets better, because I'm smart enough to understand that I'm not smart. I'm like, I'm seeing what Kristen's doing, I'm seeing what Marie's doing, I'm seeing what Lucas is doing, I'm seeing what you guys are doing. I'm like, and if it works for you, then I'm like, I'm going to steal it and make it part of it so everybody else can get part of it. That's it. Katie? Noted. Do it again. Okay, so if you guys don't know this, Katie made it aware that I have this like nervous tick that I say that's it. So I'm going to let everybody else know it too, so that you guys can call me out. Put it in the chat. Every time you guys hear that's it, you guys type it out to make me stop saying that's it. It's like my period. Let's move to the next thing. So.
Well, what you say is so freaking powerful, but then when you back it up with like a that's it loses its value.
Yeah. So you guys can now also hold me accountable. Katie's holding me accountable. Now you guys can too. Okay. That's it. I'm going to get on a t-shirt, and that's it, my friends. All right. So how do you get the opportunity to be able to market internally? You first have to market externally. There's a sequence to business. There's a sequence to life. There's a sequence to everything. And I think the most important thing that I missed out on so long, and I believe that a lot of people miss out on, is there's a sequence to everything. Everyone wants to have $1 million business that operates without them. But the first step in the sequence is to have a $10,000 business that operates wholly because of you.
75 hard.
Yeah, that's your 75 hard. And so there's a sequence to everything. And the biggest problem that I've encountered, that I also see very easy for me to see in others, is that I try to skip steps. Because I either justify it, make excuses, or just I'm plain ignorant. And the reality is like there is no steps to be skipped. Every step must be crossed. Every step must be stepped. And so if you want to be able to market internally, you must first market externally. That means you spend money. You risk dollars in the hopes of getting those dollars back. And so we spent $983 on Google LSA. That's one of the most I've ever seen for LSA. We spent $1,400 on Facebook. So we spent a total of $2,300 last week. We got 63 Facebook leads. 2 Facebook Messenger leads, 18 missed calls, 7 Google services, 14 homepage leads, 6 incoming call leads. We've got a total of 110 leads. Not bad. $21 per lead. Spots open. We had 5 spots open unfilled last week. 18 spots are currently open as of this week. And Keziah was the only one in the office last week. Aliyah, she was off in both Mesa and Bozeman last week. It was her first time that she's ever taken any time off, but she took the entire week off. And so Keziah, she answered 63 calls on her own, missed 50 calls. She had 25 cold calls scheduled, 17 showed. She performed 37 calls and closed 24 people. Damn. She closed $10,000 of projected quote revenue. Great job, right? Great job. Somebody who was a cleaner for 6 weeks, brought her to the office, 20-year-old girl, and she impresses me. She impresses me. Her willingness to learn, her maturity, just her awareness to understand when, like, her to reshape her thoughts is the reason that she is where she is. And for all you guys who came at the Decade Day last time, you guys got an opportunity to meet her. Like, you guys, it's very evident that, like, if you had to bet on her, you would. And for you guys who are coming at the Decade Day this week, so it was funny because I talked about how nobody wants to come to Arizona in the middle of summertime. Well, this week we have 5 business owners, which includes Marie, she's on here, is coming out to Arizona in the middle of freaking summertime in Arizona to come do a Decade a Day. And you guys will get the opportunity to meet her on Friday. And as much as, like, everyone here is older than her, has more experience than her, there's something to be learned from her. And if you can learn from people, if you can learn from every single person, especially people who are lower than you, if you want to quantify that, because I think as humans we all judge, but if you can seek to understand before you judge, you'll learn a lot more. And so I highly recommend you guys, anybody who comes out here, first and foremost, like, definitely, like, ask her questions, see how she responds, because there's something to be learned from her. I learned from her. I tell you that I learned a lot from her. The person who I learned the most from, my oldest daughter, Kobe, and the second person I learned the most from is my youngest daughter, Lainey, and the third person I learned from is Katie, my wife. Those are the 3 people who I learned the most from. And it all started with me first judging them first, and then realizing that I'm stupid. And the more I started asking questions, trying to see how they think, I started to understand that they are different than I am. And that is not a bad thing, that's a good thing. And then all of a sudden I started to see a different perspective. I started to see a different way of life. And they really have helped me understand business, because business is all about understanding people who think differently than you, not people who think the same as you. Because everyone who thought the same as you, like, you wouldn't be selling those people. You're selling people who think differently than you do. And so the more that you can understand people, you can understand people who don't have the same values as you, who don't have the same traits as you, who don't think the same way you do, that makes you more valuable. So, because I had 5 conversions booked for a total of $1,785, and we netted $900. So out of the clients we lost versus the clients we gained, we netted $900. So cool to see. Oops. Okay, client fulfillment. We had 16 new client claims, 49 repeat, so 65 total claims, 1 correction claim, 173 recurring clients, 43,000 recurring client revenue, 104 occasional clients, 5 conversions, 10 Google reviews last week. Katie, are we gonna hit 600 this week?
Yep.
Bye. I think we're at 595 already. So
Yep.
Next week, you guys will see us at 600 reviews. 890 clients were lost, and then we gained 1785. So again, it was a net of whatever that was, the number was up here. $900. We gained $900 in new recurring client revenue. We lost $2,400 on the books last week, which is not too bad. Cleaner acquisition, 115 applicant ad spend, 21 applicants, 15 scheduled, 12 performed, 12 scheduled, 9 performed, 3 cleaners hired. Yeah, we got a good pipeline going here. So yeah, we're gonna combine efficiency with cleaners, and that's how we're gonna turn this into $1 million business, guys. You combine both. It's not just having cleaners or having efficiency, but it's having both, right? You're like, I'm efficient, I have 3 cleaners. Good. Volume plus efficiency, that's how you get to $1 million business. You gotta have both. We had 2 cleaners who quit. Katie just like quit because she got upset with her schedule. And then Alondra, she just couldn't show up. She just couldn't show up, but she also quit. And so you can see our hours here. So Dev, 44 hours last week. insane. Sierra 34, Brianna 34, Kylie 34, Alyssa 32, Melanie 31, Andrea 30, 29, 19. And then the reason our average actually is down is because Alondra worked 10 hours. Like this number would probably be closer to like 31 or 32. So again, good hours. And look at the man hour rate, $54 man hour rate, also good. We discounted a clean 100%. Look at that. We had to give a clean away, guys. Dang it.
That was a big one. It was $750.
Give it away. So if you guys weren't on the road 300K call, that's what I talked about. Like how you know you're doing things right is when you have problems. Problems include discounts. It includes workman's comp. It includes not being efficient. It includes breaking things. It requires you having trainers who you spend $500 on a week and they don't work out. Like that's what is required in order for your business to grow. And that's why most people aren't willing to sacrifice. They're not willing to do the sacrifice in order to actually get the result. Human nature is they want to be efficient today. The price you pay to be efficient for a year is being inefficient for 10. Nobody wants to pay the price. Nobody wants to pay the price. Your ego won't let you pay the price. Kitty, finish this out here. What's the message you got?
You guys have the capability to become efficient with your schedules. It's just a matter of proactively going in there and ensuring that your cleaners have sufficient hours.
And it's easier to be proactive when you know exactly what you can do. And so when you have a system behind it and a process on how to do it, it makes it easier. And so if everybody's inside the coaching community, that's what we're working on right now, is to make what we're doing and make into a system that you guys can replicate, you guys can model, and you guys can apply into your business. And you can do it first. You can learn the skill and then you can teach it. And that's exactly how everything inside this coaching program is set up. And so if you're not inside the coaching program, understand that like you get more than just results. Just so you realize this, you get an understanding of how things work. Because the number one goal is for anybody who comes to the coaching program is that if you decide you want to leave the coaching program, you are better off after you join than when you did before. Because we do absolutely nothing for you and we teach you how to do everything yourself, which makes the on-ramping period slow and makes it frustrating. But once you get it set up and once you get going,
you never need us.
You never need us. And the irony in life is that the less you need something, the more you want it. Kate and I were just talking about this the other day. We've only had 3 coaching clients that have ever like stopped actually doing one-on-one coaching. We've been doing this for 2 years now, 2.5. And it's our only goal is that you don't need us. In fact, I'm not doing anything for you. I will teach you how to do it. I'll show you how to do everything, but I'm not doing it for you. And if you don't want to do it anymore, that's fine. You can leave. There's no contract, month to month, like go. And so if you want to learn, if you want an education, and you actually want to combine that with seeing results, and you want to be part of the community, you want to see what's possible, like that's what the coaching program is for. Right? And so if you guys are interested, James will drop the link. You guys can apply to see if it's a good fit for you. And for all you guys who are inside the coaching program, just super appreciate you guys for actually implementing and actually doing the thing. And you guys' business are actually growing, because once you actually have a business that grows, then you can solve the next problem. You have money, now what do you do with it? And that's the cool part about the people who come at the Decade a Day, is that what we're talking about. We're talking about how to actually achieve financial freedom. How do you turn $1 million business into millions of dollars? That's the next step. And so super excited for that for this weekend, for everybody who's coming out the Decade a Day. Been working on the presentations since the last one ended. Katie's getting all the resources ready to go and get everything set up. So that's what we're focused on this week, is Decade a Day. So I'm really look forward to seeing you. I think you're the only one who's on here that is coming out that I can see anyway. So yeah, for all you guys who haven't been out to Decade a Day, if we do another one, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And if you don't want my recommendation, just ask the Lucases and the Kayla Irbies and who else came out here, the Renee's and Anna Harris and
Tyler.
Julia's. Well, no, Tyler hasn't been out to one yet.
Decade and Day? Oh, not a group one.
Group Decade a Day. Yeah, a little different. So anyway, no, those are in person, Bobby. That's in-person Decade a Day. So people are flying out here. So anyway, time to get on our next meeting, guys. But appreciate you guys for being on here. Super appreciate you guys. Hope you guys had some fun. Yeah, we'll be back next week. road to a milli. Week number 76, 75 hard will be completed. And next week we're gonna go back to our normal things that we did before week one. We're gonna not make phone calls, not market, and we'll see if the business continues to grow.
Goodbye.